Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Pallet of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the latest issue of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer magazine. Now, as per usual with all these videos, if you like them, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course drop us a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys and it goes a massive way to helping out the channel too. Now, this week we're on issue number 5 of Stormbringer magazine and it is time for our exclusive mini. Now, if you're unaware, every magazine run from the Warhammer ranges, so whether it's been Conquest, Mortal Realms, or Imperium, and now Stormbringer, we have had an exclusive mini. Now, for £9, you are essentially getting what would be the equivalent if I sold it as a commemorative mini. 25 quid mini, not bad. Not bad. Now, it's not everyone's cup of tea always, as per usual, and I can imagine quite a few people are trying to sell these as commemorative series minis for that kind of pricing, which is a shame and a bit annoying. But this is our exclusive Stormcast Eternal mini, the Praetor Prime, a pretty cool one. As I say, you can only get it with this magazine, so it would have been a commemorative series mini originally, and they've issued it with the magazine because, you know, it's pretty cool. It's not bad. I quite like it. It's a nice little mini, and I'm kind of looking forward to getting going with it. So, happy times. We also get 6 D6s with this issue as well. They're always very, very handy to have. Not everybody's thrilled by dice, but it works out very well. So if you have, for instance, a unit of 10 or more in your army, rolling 6 dice is not very fun for 10 units when you can literally roll 10 dice to get all your attacks done in one go instead of having to pick them up, re-roll stuff and muck around with that. Makes life a lot easier to have 12 dice or more. So, happy times. Anyway, into this week's issue, we are greeted by the Stormcast Eternals and a bit more lore about them. So if you are fully unaware about the Stormcast Eternals, it is almost impossible to kill a Stormcast Eternal for good. Through the magic of reforging, they are remade in body and soul anytime they die, allowing them to fight endlessly for Sigmar. So, in the Mortal Realms, Sigmar cannot afford to lose a single warrior in his war against evil, so he has designed the process of reforging. Now, the process of reforging all happens in the soul forges and on the anvil of apotheosis, where basically the soul essence is reforged and given physical manifestation once again, then reclad in Sigmarite, and then off they go to carry on fighting. Whether they're carrying on with their original storm host, coming back with a new storm host, or even a new purpose, entirely up to them. There are, of course, obviously the odd occasions where there are accidents with the reforging process. So there have been cases where the soul has been too badly damaged, and obviously the reforging process is extremely draining, extremely dangerous, and extremely mentally scarring for the person being reforged, and sometimes they come back a little bit insane, which isn't always something that you want. Now, on one occasion, including in the Soul Wars, there was an occasion where the soul essence didn't turn back to a Stormcast Eternal and ended up being on the side of Nagash, having been captured by Arkan the Black and put to use as a lightning geist, essentially, against the Stormcast Eternals in Shaiish, which is a pretty cool story and definitely one worth having a read of. So, you know, always, you know, check that out if you wish to. Anyway, back onto this after a bit of a ramble. There is a lethal sacrifice that some Stormcast Eternals do like to do, because the way that they work is that when they die, their soul is converted back into raw elemental lightning, which can kill, damage, leave reeling, or leave even their enemies blind and such like if they're too close to it. So some Stormcast Eternals will utilise this like a weapon, so they may jump into the thick of it and you know, allow themselves to kind of take out as many foes as possible and then get killed because they turn into that lightning, punch through, and do more damage on their way out. So, you know, they're quite clever buggers really when they want to be. Then we go into the Age of Myth and the history of the realms. So the Age of Myth was of the earliest days of immortal realms, a time of heroes, monsters, and epic deeds that has passed into legend for mortal beings. So stories tell of an era marked by prosperity and peace, during which the gods used their powers to create wonders, and the peoples of the realms worked together to create a better world. The Age of Myth, as legend tells, began with the awakening of the storm god Sigmar. Sigmar raised up the first humans, taught them the secrets of civilization, and they built empires that spanned across the realms. In this time, Sigmar travelled across all the realms and helped kind of create all this network of humans along the way. But then, obviously, not everything could go on forever, so the gift of civilization was when Sigmar came along, helped bring up these civilizations. But the powers of chaos, being the powers of chaos, do like to try and thwart any kind of plans of order. So the powers of chaos, if you are unaware, there are 5 powers of chaos in the Age of Sigmar. There is Khorne, the blood god, the god of slaughter and death, and just battle frenzy and much, much more. There is Tzeentch, the god of change and magic, and he wishes to spread anarchy and upheaval throughout the realms. There is Nurgle, the god of plague and decay. So, as decay and despair spread, so does Nurgle's will, and technically he is a god of life at exactly the same time, because he does like to grow stuff. However, it's not normally the stuff that you want to see growing. There is Slaanesh as well. So Slaanesh is the god of excess and debauchery. So through any excessive or obsessive behaviours gives power to Slaanesh, and there are weird kind of cults devoted to Slaanesh as well. And then there is the newest power in the grand scheme of chaos, the Great Horned Rat. This is obviously the god of vermin, and is worshipped only by the Ratmen, aka the Skaven, and he is now a major god within the pantheon of chaos. So pretty cool information, and Skaven being absolutely nuts is always quite fun as well. Then we move on, we have our Stormcast Eternals kind of data sheet. So obviously you can give them your background, your character traits, and much, much more if you wish to for your Praetor Prime. And you can also name your unit as well. So obviously we're going to get some Praetors later on, and they will give us more information with these. So your Praetor Prime will obviously lead these folks, and yeah, you can keep a track of all your traits and much, much more if you wish to on that. Then you've got your how to build guide. Very, very simple. As per usual, you will need glue for this. This is not a push fit model. So make sure you got your plastic glue. Keep the tip safe. Don't use too much. If you use too much, I'm not going to lie, it will go badly and it won't fit very well, and it will look a bit ugly, and you'll have to trim the glue off, which is not an easy task. Little tiny dots of glue can be all you need sometimes, or a very, very thin bead. So, over gluing is not advised. But otherwise, a really cool mini. Now, obviously, they're going to teach you how to attach to the base, because there is no pre-designed peg on the bottom of the foot to slot into the base. Position it in the centre. If you position it to the back, it overbalances, it doesn't sit very well, and if you are going to put them in a case, it will not fit very well inside of a case and can get damaged very, very easily. And then we move on. We have our how to paint guide. Dead simple. You can get free base colours down for your Praetor Prime mini, which is actually really, really good. So if you're using your starter brush still, happy days. Obviously, utilising your Retributor armour as your main base layer. Free coats. Once they're dry, it will look very nice and shiny and gold. Use your Cantor Blue over the cloak. You may need to do free coats with this, because going over gold is sometimes a little bit tricky with a solid colour like blue. But otherwise, really good. And then your lead belcher for your armour, if you're doing that same colour scheme. So obviously this is the Hammer of Sigmar Stormcast colour scheme. Entirely up to you if you're doing it, but otherwise miss out some parts of gold. But otherwise, you'll get a really good looking mini. It's not too bad. It's obviously not very neat around there on their model. But if you are going a little bit over on that cloak, in all honesty, you are going to need to knit up later on. I'm guessing they'll have white on the inside, because that's generally how they do it. So it doesn't matter too much. But otherwise, pretty good stuff. So just don't forget to paint and feet and stuff like that. And then we get our playthrough for the week. This is playthrough number 5, so still teaching us about movement and deployment and much, much more. Utilising your 5 good old Vindictors from a couple of weeks ago. Your Praetor Prime going up against your 10 good old Gut Rippers and the Killer Boss and Stabgrot as well, which is actually pretty cool, because the Gut Rippers are a little bit squishier than your Stormcast Eternals. That's why you can utilise more of them. So, but otherwise, really cool battle. Definitely worth having a blast through and enjoying yourself with. And we carry on with a bit of the early days of our Stormcast Eternal War Prime, War Scrolls, and good old Auric Gut Rippers bits as well. And then obviously we're going to go get more and more information about the basics as we go through everything. And you'll get your advanced rules. Carrying on with the basics, we get more information about the game turns and how to utilise those. So every bit there is things like the hero phase, movement phase, shooting phase, charge phase, combat phase, and then battle shock phase as well. A lot to kind of remember, but if you're following it along with a magazine, it will build it up over time. So you'll get a knowledge over each bit as you go. You may still have to refer to things, but once you've separated all the pages and got all your rules in order, it'll be a lot easier to follow. And then we have a pull-out section. So our pull-out is the Defenders of the Realms. So this is all about the Ages of Sigmar. So we have a lot of bits and pieces. So we have the Destroyer of the Realms in there, and we have our kind of heroes and defenders. So there are the Stormcast Eternals, obviously, the Bringers of Civilization. They are trying to unify the forces of good and order and save mortals overall. But otherwise, you've got a lot of Stormcast Eternals on there. We've got some really cool photos. We have the awesome dragons as well, which I must admit are fantastic. And if you're a premium subscriber to this magazine, you're going to get these as well, which is really, really cool stuff. Obviously, you have your Celestant Prime as well up there, which we had with Mortal Realms as our last mini, which was really cool. And I must admit, I've still not built mine. But otherwise, on the side of the Destroyers, we have a lot of awesome Aurochs. Some of these we're going to be getting, so we're going to get a lot of these units and some really cool ones. So we have things like the Mybrute Troggoth, we have Gut Rippers, we have more Cruel Boys, we have Squigs, we have the Killer Boss on whatever that is. I can't even remember what it is, but it's a pretty cool unit, and a lot of monsters obviously utilised to push through and destroy the realms as they go. So pretty cool, not too bad, a pretty good pull out that is. And then moving on, next week we have Hobgrot Slitters. Now Hobgrots are kind of weird, kind of cool, and not too bad, but yeah, really good stuff, and 10 of those guys, so this should be really good fun. So we're going to enjoy this one. And then issue 7, we have a paint issue. So our second paint issue, yeah, could be better. But, you know, we get Corax White, very, very handy. And we also get Catachan Flesh, also very handy. I imagine it's going to be used, I guess we're going to be using it on the Hobgrots, in all honesty. I'm not going to lie to you. I reckon we'll be using it over that, but not too bad. Pretty good stuff. And a lot of good stuff to look forward to with the magazine. So as soon as we get an update with what else is going to be coming with it, I will be doing that, so keep an eye out for that. But otherwise, thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye now.